Okay, so now that we've drawn our diagram and we've got our state diagram set up to represent our game, we're going to launch into coding up the first location. So to get started, we're going to focus on the middle location. So in our example that you can see there, it is the library. And the first thing we're going to code is just the description. So we're just going to use some print functions to display the description onto the screen. So we'll jump into here and we're just going to say print. Okay, so if we run this here, you can see the description for the first location displayed on the screen there. What we're then going to do is to display the choices in the circle on the screen as choices for the user to pick as well. So just for a bit of formatting, we're going to insert a blank line using the print open and close brackets. Okay, so just like that, and when we run it, we have a little bit of a description and then the choices. So a little bit of an exercise for you right here is, how would you display the second line in that description in a different color? So just do a bit of a pause and you can practice having a go at that and see how that goes. So the way we do that is we're just going to put the color dot, let's say green word in there using the plus sign or the concatenation sign, and then we're going to reset the color afterwards so that the lines afterwards aren't also in green, and also import the color from the goodies modules. Okay, so here we should have a little bit of color in our description for our first location. So the next thing we're going to do is then prompt the user to enter in what they would like to do. So we're going to just use another print to space it out, and I'm going to use the input function to ask them for what they would like to do. And if you run that now, you can see the description as before, and then they can type in something, but then the location ends. So obviously what we need to do at this point is we need to store what they type in into a variable, and then we can use if statements to act on what they typed in. Before we do that though, I'm going to start putting comments into my code so that it is clearly described for other people who's going to be looking at my code later. Okay, so there's our comments in our code. And then at this point, we can assign the result of what they typed in from the input function into a variable or manila envelope. So I'm going to call this choice for the name of the variable. And then at this point, we can start acting on what they typed in. So the reason why we picked the middle location to start with is because it's the only one with two choices. So we can have multiple ifs here. So we're going to go, let's check for the first choice. If choice is double equal sign, go right. Okay, so we're using the if statement there. Remember to use two equal signs to compare both sides of the double equal sign, and then remember the colon at the end. If choice is equal to go right, what we're going to do at this point is just display you start heading right. Okay, so a little bit of a preview just to get them kicked off. You start heading right, and then we're going to do a similar one for left. So if the choice was go left, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so let's run this very quickly now to check that everything works as expected. Here we go. What would you like to do? If I say go right, it should say you start heading right. And if we say go left, it should say you start heading left. Okay, so we've handled go right and go left. Let's handle the situation when they type in an invalid choice. So once again, if we go, let's say go up, okay, what we would like to do, just like how we covered it in the virtual pet example, okay, we want to say that it's an invalid choice, okay? So if we run this and we go, say go up, it will say invalid choice, please choose again. And that seems to all work. But if you remember, there is a problem here. Let's just step through this. Okay, step, 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 step. What would you like to do? Go right. What happens next is we press enter. Notice it goes down to line 15. It's checking to see whether the choice is go right, and that is true. So we're going to go into line 16, display you start heading right. It will check line 17 if choice is go left. That's not true. So we'll skip line 18, but it will still hit line 19 and display invalid choice. Please choose again. What we're going to do is after they select a correct choice, we're going to just end the game at that point, okay? It's just a placeholder that we're going to put in just so we can continue. We're going to fix it later so it'll actually tie into other locations, okay? So here, after line 16, when they've typed in go right, we're just going to quit the program. And similarly, after line 19, we are also going to quit. Okay, so very quickly, step through that, go left. Okay, you can see the next line is line 15. That's false, so it'll go to line 18. That's true. You start heading left, and then you'll quit. Okay, so you won't get to line 21 where it will display invalid choice. Okay, so let's check that again for go right. Same deal. Okay, so the only time you should get to line 21 now is if you didn't type in one of the valid choices. So let's try that one more time with stepping through. Let's say jump. Okay, line 15, false. Line 18, false. Invalid choice, please choose again. Okay, so with the invalid choice, just like what we did with the virtual pet example, we want to give the user the chance to go back and provide another response. So the way we're going to do that is after you've said invalid choice, please choose again, we would like to go to a previous location in the code. So in this case, let's imagine that we would like to send them back to the line where we asked them what they would like to do. So let's say that's line 13. So remember, in order to send them back or loop them back to a previous part of the code, we need to insert a label or a bookmark just above that line of code. Okay, so if we want to send them to 13, we need to create a label. So let's say label.question, okay? And then down here on line 23, which they only get to if they entered invalid choice, we would go to the question label, okay? So let's step that through very quickly. Let's say scream, okay, because you're in the library, that's the natural thing to do, right? You scream, press enter. It's not line 16, so that's false. It's not line 19, that's false. We get down to line 22, invalid choice, please choose again. Gets down to line 23, go to question. It should jump up to line 13, which is just a label, so it'll just remember it, skip past it, and then you get the choice again. Okay, so let's run that full speed. Scream, okay, invalid choice, please choose again. Yell, okay, jump, up, right? You get all invalid choices until you pick something that you can do, go left, in which case it says you start heading left and then the program finishes.